Hello everyone. In this particular session, I will explain certain basics of CNN, that is convolutional neural networks. So what is the inspiration for this particular concept is neuron cells. Neurons are nothing but which accept information from multiple inputs, transmit the information to other neurons. So they multiply the inputs by weights along the edges, apply some functions to the set of inputs at each node. If the output of the function is over the threshold, then the neutron fires an impulse signal. So if you can look at this figure, which we are considering a normal human being neuron, we have nucleus, cell body, dendrite, branches of axons, axon terminals, and etc. Now, so for this particular neuron, we do get the data from axon terminals to the dendrites. So whenever a neuron receives signals through dendrites, they will perform the action or process that electrical impulses. Once the electrical impulses processed crosses certain gradient function, then this particular cell produces an impulse electrical signal through axons to the next neuron's dendrites. So this we can mimic mathematically as cell body, weights through the edges, synapses, so axon from neurons of the previous one. So once the threshold has been crossed, if I say through the activation function, then output will be produced, that is the impulse voltage for the next particular neuron. So based on this analogy, we do perform processing in mathematical analysis with this MATLAB right now. So as per the biological analogy, a biological neuron is mimicked with an artificial neuron mathematically. Using this neuron, as I said, we consider certain activation function. So here I am just showing a sigmoid function where weighted edges multiplied with input plus some bias has been added for the output. So this particular activation function can be anything based on our choice among the set of available activation functions. Further proceeding, why convolution neural network itself means, you can notice state-of-art performance on many problems on the recent journals and conferences have received best accuracy rates or least error rate with respect to object classification, scene classifications, birds, flowers, human attributes or objects, and then buildings, sculptures, etc. And also to define what is convolution neural network, which is a deep learning algorithm that can recognize and classify features in images for a computer vision application with multi-layered neural network designed to analyze the visual inputs and perform tasks such as image classification, segmentation, object detection, etc. So this helps us to use for deep learning applications even in healthcare, such as medical images. Now, hello everyone. In this particular session, I will explain certain basics of CNN, that is convolutional neural. Now the basics of convolutional neural network architecture is, as I said, it is inspired by the neuron of the human being. So we consider it as functionality of visual cortex and designed to mimic the connectivity pattern of the neurons within the human brain. So once I say to mimic the human brain, we will have the neurons within the CNN split into a three-dimensional structure, wherein each set of neurons analyzing a small region or feature of the image, so that each group of neurons specializes in identifying one part of the image. CNNs use the prediction from the layer to produce a final output that presents a vector of probability scores to represent a likelihood that the specific feature belongs to certain class. Now, how does the CNN work? For this CNN to work, we have several layers within it. As I said, it is a three-dimensional structure. So the layers include basically the convolution layer, where the existing image has been mapped to features to predict the class probabilities. So applying a filter that scans the whole image into few pixels at a time. Next would be the pooling layer, or I can say it as downsampling, where it scales down the amount of information from the convolution layer generated for each feature and maintains the most essential information. So for example, because the images are big in size, as when we load it to the MATLAB, we get a matrix, and this for analysis we don't require such big matrices. Instead, only the relevant features which are required or which are filtered in the previous step are maintained in this pooling layer. That too, after processing convolution and pooling layers repeatedly, the relevant or necessary data alone will be passed on to the next layer. Now the fully connected input layer flattens the output. That is, when we have a matrix, this matrix has been converted into a single vector, and that is loaded as an input to the next layer. So it flattens the output generated by the previous layers to turn them into a single vector that can be used as an input for the next layer. Now fully connected layer is applying weights over the input generated by the feature analysis layers to predict the accurate label. So the difference between fully connected input layer and fully connected layer is, here this particular task, that is fully connected input layer, just converts or flattens a matrix into a vector such that the next layer can use that values as the input and does the processing. This fully connected layer concentrates only on the activation function or such things like that, where weights are more concentrated such that it helps in predicting with labels accurately. Finally, we will have fully connected output layer, which generates the final probabilities to determine a class for the image. Now the activation functions, as I am talking from the beginning, we have sigmoid, tan, ReLU, leaky, maximum out, or ELU. Any activation function can be considered based on the accuracy what we get or the application what we choose. Now convolution neural network, as I said, we go with feature extraction and then analyze with the processing. So firstly, we move forward for the feature extraction. So convolve the input with learned filters, apply non-linearity, then perform spatial pooling at the initial steps. So for that, if I take the steps, the same thing has been showed in this figure. Give the input image, we convolve or we learn the features, apply the nonlinear filtering, then do the downsampling or spatial pooling. This repeatedly we perform. Finally we get the output class probabilities and say this is the class based on the probability. So for this we perform supervised training of the convolution filters by back propagating classification errors. That is, once I move from input image to the output class, if it is classified wrongly, then that error information has been passed back to the convolution layer. So it corrects its weights and then proceed further. So that is for back propagating the classification error. So we supervise until we get least error. Then apply the convolution, that is apply the learning filter weights for the input. So if you can notice here, I have an image with the building structure. Now this is the kernel filter which we are choosing to convolve with this image. This particular filter will move across the image throughout till the end point. I'll just show it. So this is the pattern, it moves. Once the filter has been moved, we get the feature map like this. This is, say I have chosen a filter which filters red color alone. Now I proceed with another filter to filter green color. So I make one more swap. So now I will get next feature map like this. So this process of convolution by applying the filter weights are repeated again and again. So one feature map per filter we obtain. Then that is, one straight can be greater than one faster with lesser memory. So this movement of the filter for the convolution, I can make one or many or with bigger size or smaller size. It all depends upon how our processors are performing and how we are programming over it. But next step is to perform non-linearity, or that is to apply the activation filters. For that we choose some options like tan, sigmoid, rectified linear unit. This is the most one used because we can avoid saturation issues. Further is the spatial pooling. As I said, we will downsample it. So because we apply so many convolution filters, as you saw previously, we would have stacked so many, and that stacked one should be reduced to single, or we need to slice down. So we will downsample it, reduce the size of the image and consider for the pooling further. Now This can be done non-overlapping or which. Now the activation functions, as I'm talking from the beginning, we have sigmoid, tan, value, leaky, maximum out or ELU. Any activation function can be considered based on the accuracy what we get or the application what we choose. And then further, if you have a closer look at this, so if the image size is 32 cross 32 cross 3 and my filter size is 5 cross 5 cross 3, we convolve that filter throughout the image, that is we pass on that filter from top to bottom completely, and we get activation map for each spatial location, and this will be piled up. Now to have a closer look at it, just watch this. I have a simple image of 7 cross 7 and I am assuming a 3 cross 3 filter. Now with this 3 cross 3 filter, the next step, we move just 1 pixel, again another 1 pixel, again another 1 pixel, again another 1 pixel. So we moved 5 steps. So I will have 5 times 5 cross 5 outputs. If I want to reduce this, now I will skip 2 steps. So 2 2 pixels have been jumped right now in this particular step. Then next one, if is it possible to move 3? No. First 3, then next 3, then I would have left with only 1. So we need to take care of such things, how many strides at a time and what is the size of it. So the size of the filter and the size of this particular image should be compatible, like how we check the compatibility of matrices for multiplication. Similarly, we need to check the compatibility of the image size and the convolving kernel filter size. So putting it all together, we will perform convolution with whatever kernel function we are choosing, and then rectified linear units are applied. This repeatedly we do, and finally we use this start filtered outputs, pool them together and get the next stage. And these particular stages are repeated again and again. Finally we get a fully connected network layer which tells the probability of that particular image. So there was a ImageNet challenge in 2012 coming directly with respect to MATLAB on-run course. I'm speaking. Challenges were there even in previous cases, but I'm speaking about the AlexNet convolution neural network. So when there was a ImageNet challenge in 2012 where more than 14 million labeled images to classify 20 key classes. So images were gathered from internet and human labels via Amazon Truck were made. So the challenge was to train 1.2 million images to classify 1000 classes. Now in this challenge, Alex Krzyzewski won the challenge by developing an AlexNet. So the ImageNet challenge in 2012, which was won by Alex Krzyzewski, he developed a parallel computation concept where more than initially existing was 7 hidden layers with 650,000 units and 60 lakh params, which had more than 10 past 6 images. The GPU implementation was 50 times speeded up over the CPU. So trained on 2 GPUs for a week. Better regularization for the training with respect to dropouts. So this AlexNet, due to the parallel computation, increased the speed and also improved the accuracy. So going further, you can look at the challenge results where Alex Krzyzewski had just 16.4% of the error among the complete set of millions of images provided with the challenge, and the next best was 26.2. So here is the image of first top 5 people who got the accuracy with respect to errors. Now a common architecture of the AlexNet is performing convolutions at 5 stages and then connecting it to fully connected layers with the input, finally going through the fully connected layers to classify 1000 classes. But this particular architecture has been repeated parallelly. So this is the first path, and parallel path would be existing along with it, which implements, and then we get the fully connected output for this. However, AlexNet is not the only one. The challenges continued. So in 2014 we had GoogleNet, where this authors Segdi et al. In 2014 won the competition, and now the error rate reduced to 6.7 among this top 5 people. So again, this architecture slightly varies from AlexNet, and the variations with respect to convolution, proving, pooling, activation functions, everything is there in detail. You can look at the references. Similarly, again the competition was repeated, and there was the net called as ResNet by He et al. So you can again go through the details of that particular architecture, but this MATLAB on-ramp course considers only AlexNet for the studying purpose. So we have concentrated how did this AlexNet come and what is the actual operation of convolution neural networks. Not necessary that you need to know each and every step, what convolution after what is the filtering, what is the pooling, which activation is considered. So once we have done with the ResNet, proceed with revolution of the depth. So the revolution of the depth has 152 layers in this particular concept. Though we have 152 layers, the error rate has reduced to just 3.5 from respect to AlexNet. If you notice here, the error rate was 16.4 and it has come down to 3.5 with 152 layers. So it is a huge development with huge computational complexities. So what we need to know is overtraining we need to prevent to avoid computational complexities with respect to training data and testing data. It is unnecessarily we will run with too many epochs, so overfitting will happen. So keep a data set for validation purpose and test the accuracies on it. On every epoch, stop training when the additional epochs are increasing errors. So the best practice for training is use regularizations, initialize the weights by Xavier initializations, use this rectified linear units or leaky or sigmoid, don't use the sigmoid application, use the data augmentations, and these data augmentation steps are taught in this MATLAB on-ramp course. So use mini batch, that is batch by batch we take the images and implement the training path. Center, that is subtract mean from your data. Use cross validation for your parameters. Learning rate cannot be too high or cannot be too low. We need to do trial and errors to identify the best. Not the only one, the challenges continued. So in 2014 we had GoogleNet, where this authors Segdi et al. In 2014 won the competition, and now the error rate reduced to 6.7 among this top 5 people. So again, this architecture slightly varies from AlexNet, and the variations with respect then. So coming back to data augmentations, this again, as I said, augmentation process is completely taught in the on-ramp course step by step with different variation like horizontal fib, random clopping. Then again we go with transfer learning, different types of transfer learning. But for this we need lot of data to use for training and CNNs. So every transfer learning has its own effect on a neural network. So it is just busted with many images. So we can perform semantic segmentation, extract patch by patch, run through the CNN, classify the center of the pixel as cow or grass or whatever it is, repeat for every pixel. So based on the complete probability, so for each pixel, if it keeps on telling it is cow, finally we conclude that image is cow and the left out part is grass. So this is way we detect the objects, or we can mark the edges of the soft edges of this particular image. So we can proceed with class predictions to further image segmentations. So if you want to learn further about this after completing the MATLAB on-ramp course, you can choose these resources and start learning and have fun by learning deep learning for image processing. Finally, we will land up as computer vision engineers once you have expertise in image processing with deep learning or video processing with deep learning. Thank you. Have fun, learn well.